Hi, I'm Ed Hitchcock, the owner of Taylor Tackle, and today we are filming a multi-species show. So that means that I'm going to try to teach you guys how to approach a lake with a bunch of different species and target them all at the same time. And so if you are in love with catching a bunch of different fish, you like the idea of targeting a bunch of different fish, working for them differently, enjoying the beauty of some of these fish, you know, switching over and seeing the small panfish up into the bigger, you know, trout, this show is for you. And so this is my favorite type of fishing because I love the variety and the challenge of catching a bunch of different species. So we are out here on a lake that has a bunch of different species. We have warm water fish as well as cold water fish. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to be fishing warm water species, but most of the techniques and tactics are the same outside of some of the trout and kokanee that you'll see later on in the show. So what I mean by warm water and cold water species. This lake has warm water, meaning it's got a bunch of different panfish, so things that you would find in the Midwest. So it's got bluegill, it's got crappie, it's got perch, and it's even got largemouth bass. Now at the same time, we're up here in a mountaintop kind of environment where the species here are also trout. And so this lake sports rainbow trout, tiger trout, as well as kokanee. Now, tiger trout are a hybrid version of brook trout and brown trout, and this is a little bit of a rarer fish, but it's going to be the same techniques as rainbow. They plant them in these lakes so that you know, they're actually sterile. They can't reproduce, but they're super aggressive feeders, and so they do a great job kind of cleaning up some of the species that can get out of control, like the perch. And so the last species that we've got on this lake is a kokanee, which is a landlocked salmon. It's a landlocked coho salmon, and they typically get around 10 to 12 inches. They go in big schools and they go in deeper water. And so all that being said, what I'm going to show you guys how to do today is to keep your lure selection really small, just using the same lure and targeting all of these species, right? So we are going to really focus on where we're setting up, how we're presenting the bait, and really reading our units. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't really have flashers, so I'm going to make sure that I cover the techniques in depth so that you can still go out and do this without a flasher. But yeah, we're hoping to catch a bunch of different species today, and I think it's going to go really well. Oh! There we go. There's a bluegill. Okay, let's take a look at lure selection. Now, you are going to watch me fish with just one thing the entire day today. And because what we're trying to do is we're trying to present something that everything can eat, right? And so it's not going to be the ideal thing for each and every species. It's really only going to be ideal for panfish, but it will catch everything. And so what I'm talking about is a jig and a plastic with a waxy on it. Okay, this is your go-to if you're targeting multiple species. This will catch anything. Again, it's not going to be the best for each and individual species, but it will work. And so these are the two that I'm thinking about right now. I like to think about them in terms of colors. So I'm going to be using this one all day long. This is the Fire Tiger jig head with a chartreuse plastic, and it's tipped with a waxy. I'm using this one because I'm in a clear lake, okay? So it's very visible. I like greens and visible lakes. Our other option is a tungsten gold with a red plastic, also tipped with a waxy. I'm showing you this one because if you are fishing in a darker, dungier lake, I really like gold and I like red. So if I'm in a darker body of water, which is typically going to be warm water lakes, not cold water lakes like this, I'm going to be going with this one. Now, Cam is going to be fishing with this one today regardless. It's going to work. Either of these are going to work regardless of the water clarity, but like if you really wanted to optimize, that's how I'm picking. And so you're going to see here, we've got our full Taylor tackle kit. I got tons of stuff in here. And the reason why I'm not just selling these and all of this stuff is that while I love these, all the rest of these lure selections are to really hone in on a specific fish. So this is our perch dropper chain. It's the best lure for perch. These ones up here, this spoon and this rip and wrap over here, these are for walleye and they do well with crappies, right? The bigger we get, we're looking at walleye and pike. Now, I've got these marabous. I love them for rainbow trout. I love these demon jigs for a dead stick with a live minnow at night. I've got slip floats in here for your dead stick in a shelter, bunch of terminal tackle, and the jigs we were talking about. And so you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, I've got a bunch of stuff right here, but Ed's only using this today. That's because I'm trying to open up my abilities to target a bunch of different fish. Now, if you want to target a bunch of different fish, you got to slim down your profile. So if you're at home and you don't have the tailored tackle kit, focus on jigs and waxies, right? And so I'm tipping this with a waxie. This is super important, right? This is what gives us the flavor. I watch a very significant difference between fish just hitting the plastic and hitting the plastic with something tipped on it. Now, you can slim down and just do a waxie on here, but I really like the plastics because they call in fish. They're brighter and I'm getting more opportunities. I see a noticeable difference with how many fish I'm calling in when I use a plastic while tipping it with a waxie than I do just having a plastic alone. The other thing is that the waxies really seal the deal. So while the plastic can call in fish, if it's a really aggressive bite, you can just fish plastics and it's a lot of fun. But most of the time, you're fishing in a body of water where the fish are going to come up, they're going to check it out, and to really get a bite, you need that waxie on there. And you're also going to watch me always kind of like push on the head a little bit. That's because I'm pushing the juices out. It's going to get the smell all along this plastic, and you'll even see it on your flasher. It'll kind of like poof up when you're dropping your lure down at the bottom. So we're going to be fishing this today, making it really easy for you guys. This is the only thing we're using. And that's how I recommend multi-species tactics. It's looking like a tiger. Oh my goodness. That. All right, we're going for perch today. We're having a perch fishing episode.
Holy cow.
Look at that fish. Oh my goodness.
Are we in Cascade right now?
That is a Cascade perch. Look at that thing. Oh my goodness, we thought that was a trout. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna take a quick picture real quick. Okay, when I'm going for multiple species, I want to focus on a location that shares a common kind of depth transition between, like, let's say 8 feet to 20 feet with like a nice area around 15. That might not be the best depth for each particular species, but fish will generally congregate around weeds and weed lines, which will stick around still in that deeper section around 10 to 15 feet. So we're going to zoom in here. Look at this. We've got this little area right here that's got a flat right up from a drop off, right in that 15 to 17, and it goes up to 13 and 12. And so what's great about this spot is there's standing weeds that are still around, right? I'm trying to fish the weeds, and I've got the opportunity to switch shallower and deeper very easily. I don't have to pick up and go to a totally another spot. I can just drill holes from this 5-foot area right back here all the way out to this 25-foot area, and it's only maybe 50, 60 yards, so that I'm able to bounce around. Now, I'm guessing when I'm planning this is that the majority of my fish are going to be right here. And so, again, while it might not be the best location for a specific species, perch, bluegill, trout, crappie, bass, they're all going to be right in here. The only difference is that I might want to get out into this basin if I'm in the cold water and going for cold water species like trout and kokanee. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna see us today. We're gonna start here early morning to afternoon. We're gonna catch a bunch of warm water species right here. I want you to focus on this location if you're targeting warm water species. Then, you know, during the day, I like to do cold water species in deeper water, but you're gonna catch trout anywhere on the lake, and they're gonna cruise these little flats with weeds. So you're looking for 5 to 15 feet in depth. You're looking for weeds, and you're looking for different structural features nearby to your spot so you can switch over pretty easily.
That's an eater trout. Oh, it's a tiger.
There's a tiger.
Let's show the guys the tiger. That's a cool fish.
Stripes on it.
Yeah, so tigers are a hybrid of brook trout and brown trout. They are sterile, so if Cam wanted to keep it, he could. I prefer rainbow over them. They taste a little bit like brookies because they are half brookie, and brown aren't known for their delectable flavor, but it still tastes good.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we have on the board right now? We've got
Perch, tiger, rainbow, bass,
2 bluegills.
2 bluegill.
We didn't get them on tape. I got one nicer one. You got one that was a little farther away.
Yeah.
But look at these perch. Look at this one.
Okay. This is relative, right? So like, this is a really good eater perch. Look at the size difference. Look at how girthy that one is. That's just crazy to me. Because we're not fishing like a famous perch body of water. Like, this is just like, you know, a regular multi-species type lake. And that perch is just massive.
Toad.
He's a toad. Good catch, Cam. Nice tiger.
Yeah.
Got another little tiger trout. Gonna let her back in.
All right, so when I'm talking about finding weeds, these are the kind of weeds I'm talking about. So you're looking on the deeper edge right here. This is the end of the flat where it drops off into kind of like a muddy area. And then you're gonna see when I turn the camera around how much thicker it gets behind us. This is kind of that shallow 5 to 6 inch range, or 5 to 6 foot range. And then we're right on like maybe 7 or 8, and then it drops off into that 12 to 15. And so this is what you're looking for. A lot of the time, if you don't have a camera, this might be a little challenging to find, but you can generally see the way that the lake works. You're gonna see it in, 5 to 10 feet of water, sometimes up to 15. And you'll know where those weeds are if you look at it in the summer. But what you can also do is drill a hole in maybe 5 to 6 feet of water, cover your hands up and just look down into the hole, and you're gonna be able to see some weeds. And so that's important. You're gonna say, hey Ed, why am I not using this camera when I'm fishing? A lot of times the camera is just gonna be a distraction. It's really, really hard to get it centered on your bait because it doesn't have a huge field of view. And so oftentimes you're just sitting there trying to move the camera around in that perfect position, and it's not really worth your time. Now, what I love about having a camera is that it makes it really easy for us to find that spot on the spot. So this camera is allowing me to drop this down into the hole and see where the transitions happen, see where the weeds are. And that's really important, especially when you're looking for panfish, because there is a big difference between, that big heavy weed bed and that little spot next to the weed bed where it's flat, so they can actually see the bait and they don't have to go 6 or 7 feet off the bottom to actually hit your bait. So they are useful. Definitely as a total beginner, I don't recommend it, but if you start getting into the sport, they're very helpful for finding that location on top of your location.
Stay warmer for longer. Because this is a bit...
Oh, a little bass.
Really?
Yeah.
You can even get little baby bass on this setup. Species day, we come out here trying to get crappie, and trout we're in 60 feet of water, and this was like even pulling line too. I don't know what this is. I'm thinking it's a trout. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a big rainbow. This is why multi-species days are so much fun. We just come out here in the middle of the lake trying to get some crappies that are stratified. This is like such a perfect eater rainbow too. I'm super pumped about this. But that's what's so fun. I mean, what have we caught today? We've caught perch, bluegill, tiger trout, rainbow trout, anything else? Bass. And now we're getting like good eater rainbows, which I mean, look at how healthy that fish is. It's so beautiful. The colors are great. And, you know, halfway up the water column in, what, 60 feet of water? This is nuts. It's just a crazy day.
Come on down.
That one. Another trout. Let's see those beautiful colors. Really nice, healthy fish. Woo!
It's right here underneath. It's a feisty one.
Wow.
He's thick.
Might be a
Strong.
tough. He's small but thick.
No, he's a good one.
Do you want me to help lift it out or no?
I can probably get him. He's coming up towards the pole.
That's a bigger one. That's a beauty.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
Can you prop him up forward so I can see him? There you go. Yeah, that's a nice rainbow.
Yeah.